How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we have to go through a lot. There's the Fed meeting that's going to come up here. Some economists are changing their tune on that a bit. We also have some big crypto news, some liquidations that are probably going to happen or are trying to be pushed for. So we're going to see some volatility in the prices here. We also have some other big news. Might want to move your crypto off some new exchanges, and I'll talk about that. There's some big exchanges that I haven't talked about here really at all, I think, but they're some of the top exchanges, and there's some risks that you have to know about them. Also want to talk about Celsius, and I want to talk about one investment that you probably don't want to make because there's just a big piece of news made about it, and I haven't really seen anyone talk about it yet. If you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I appreciate that. There's a link underneath the video to Unstoppable Domains. They just introduced .blockchain, so they're working with blockchain.com, and now you can even have a simpler way to receive your crypto. You could get something like sam.blockchain instead of typing in a long wallet address. It makes it a lot simpler. Also, there are no minting fees and no renewal fees. They use Polygon, so it's really quick and easy. There's also a link down there to BlockFi. You can get up to a $250 bonus, which is a lot right now. That's over 1/100th of a Bitcoin. If you think Bitcoin's going to $1 million in the future, that's $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. You can get that when you sign up and start depositing. It's a tiered system, so the more you deposit, the more you get. Now, the crypto market's looking fine today. Not great, not terrible. Obviously, we bounced a little bit yesterday. Now we're down a little bit from those points. Bitcoin touched 20,000 here today. Ethereum touched about 1,000. And the stock market is looking a little bit better, which is interesting, right? We're seeing the stock market move up a little bit. Crypto still moving down. Not necessarily correlated at this point. Now, everyone's pretty much just waiting for the Fed meeting, which comes out, the statement comes out just in a few hours at 2 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of people are expecting a 75 basis point hike. And some economists are saying this would actually be good if we saw a 75 basis point hike, because we would actually take something that's aggressive enough to push down inflation without having to push it into the future. And a lot of people are already expecting this, so they might as well do this. I think 100 basis points would be negative for the stock market and crypto, but we'll have to see here. We have a couple hours before that happens. You can see we have extreme fear in the crypto market as well. So many people are worried about crypto, and right now it's an interesting time because there are a lot of big entities that are getting flushed out or insolvent. Su Zhu, who leads Three Arrows Capital, says, "We are in the process of communicating with relevant parties and fully committed to work this out." Now, if you don't know who Three Arrows Capital is, they're a big hedge fund in the crypto space. They were behind a lot of the top L1s like Avalanche and Solana, Terra. They were making early investments and have done really well in that way for all of crypto, because these kinds of cryptos do need investments to start off, and they were able to get them really successful. Now, with that being said, some people don't really like them because they do manipulate, or it looks like they've manipulated in the past. Even just a few days ago, remember when there was Steth or STETH? He said that there was a fair discount analysis, and he says that he goes through a little bit of it, but he says it's an attractive part of the ETH DOM port. So he basically said it's attractive to take this arbitrage play because STETH was trading less than ETH, and then they sold their STETH at a loss. So the fact is, this has happened before as well with Ethereum last year, where he said one thing and then did the opposite, saying that Ethereum was dead while they were buying it as well on a dip. And then he says that this is a good discount, and then they go and sell it anyway. So the fact is, they have manipulated in the past. Some people don't like that. And the interesting thing is now some people think that they're insolvent. This was kind of a cryptic tweet, right? They're working with relevant parties and fully committed to working this out, but he doesn't really explain what he means. But some people think that they're unable to pay their debts. You can see that someone was trying to liquidate them. They were aggressively paying back their Aave debt against 223,000 ETH, or a $264 million position, to avoid liquidation. They would only have to go down to about 1,042 to liquidate it, and you can see we went to about 1,025. Now, I don't believe they're liquidated yet, but you can see that this can be a problem, especially with some of these larger hedge funds. They have definitely leveraged themselves, and you can see some of the liquidations here. We've seen so many liquidations over the last few days. We still have Celsius at a $14,000 liquidation price. They added a lot of collateral, so at this point it doesn't look like they're getting liquidated, but maybe Three Arrows Capital already did. We also have some fear too, because some exchanges are laying off. We had Coinbase, BlockFi, some other ones as well. And Kraken just announced that their balance sheet is mostly Bitcoin, which some people like. I think that's great in a bull market, but the fact is, if most of their balance sheet is in Bitcoin, that means it's down 65% from the high, 66% from the high. So that's kind of nerve-wracking in a way as well, in case they need that money, especially in a time like this where they're not going to have as much trading volume. They're probably still really profitable, so it's probably not that big of a deal long term. But the fact is, that does add a little bit more risk, more upside, but more risk. CZ kind of weighs in on this too. He said it was not easy to say no to Super Bowl ads, stadium naming rights, large sponsor deals a few months ago, but we did. Today we're hiring 2,000 open positions for Binance. So Binance is obviously the biggest player in the space, might be the safest player in the space as well, because they're really well capitalized and they've been conservative in that way, right? They haven't been doing anything crazy. Elon Musk said crypto night. No one really understands what this means. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe he's just trying to make people question what's happening. So kind of an interesting thing. He's not saying anything about crypto in a while. And then there's one thing that I want to talk about, something that I think a lot of investors have to be careful of. And in times like this, a lot of people turn to gold, but there's just a big piece of news on gold. Uganda says exploration results show it is 31 million tons of gold ore. Now, this is not 31 million tons of gold, it's gold ore. So they could make about 320,000 tons of refined gold from this ore. And then just to put some numbers behind this, gold costs about $1,827 per ounce. There are 32,000 ounces in a ton, and then we have 320,158 tons of gold that should be able to be extracted. This is 1.87 to the 13th power, $18 trillion of gold that they just found. And the total amount of gold on Earth, as we know, the market cap's right around 11 or 12 billion, so this is more than that. And you can see there are about 244,000 metric tons of gold that have been discovered to date. So this more than doubles the amount of gold that we have found on the Earth. And that's why I've been so nervous about investing in gold. And a lot of other people have too, right? You never know the supply of gold, because we could find more gold. We could also have an asteroid or a comet or whatever it is called strike the Earth, and we could get a lot more gold. There's just too much uncertainty, which is why Bitcoin's so nice, because it is all programmed, right? While there is a lot of leverage in the market and that scares people away, the fact is we know exactly what the supply is going to be at any given moment in time, which is fantastic. So that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. We're going to get more news on all this, I'm sure, in the future. Bitcoin, obviously, is in a scary place. A lot of people think it's going back down to 6,000, 3,000. I don't think it's going to hit there. I could see 18, 19,000, right around where we were in the last cycle at the top, just flirting around that level. You could see that we got pushed down to almost 20,000, but we bounced right off of it to my buy orders. We're ready for that. Same thing with Ethereum, right around 1,000. It's going to be an interesting time though. And as I've said in the past, I am buying Bitcoin, but I'm really not buying any altcoins right now, because I think there could be more uncertainty in the future. There could be more things that come out like this with the Three Arrows Capital or with Celsius. There's going to be a lot of liquidations and a lot of fallout from UST and from some of these other leveraged companies. Some of these other companies, they're just betting too much, too heavy. You can see that we're under $1 trillion market cap. It's an interesting time to be in crypto. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, check out Unstoppable Domains and BlockFi, and I'll see you in the next one.